chasing us over a plug. A contractor put a plug in, the plug came loose and then clogged. Not our fault at all, but they're wanting to find us $250 stupid plug because they got to do something to a piece.
Mandy, you ready?
Yes, sir.
We'll call the February 3, 2020 meeting of the Greenwood Board of Public Works and Safety to order at 5:30 p.m. Roll call, please, Amanda.
Mr. Tallman?
Here.
Mr. Hoover?
Here.
Mr. Rutherford?
Here.
Minutes of our last meeting, the regular session of January 2020, have been distributed to members of the board. Is there any corrections, additions, or deletions from staff?
Move for approval. Second.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next, I'd like to welcome our mayor as a special proclamation and a special friend with him.
Danny, if I'm correct, Shane was on the Board of Works when you were hired, or Clint.
He was on the mayor commission when I was hired, yes.
Place merit.
Yes. He also married me and my wife.
Never forgiven me.
She's never
She's
forgiven.
never forgiven.
Yeah. All right. In honor of K9 King, February the 29th, 2020. Whereas K9 King became a member of the Greenwood Police Department on October 2013 and has served honorably alongside his handler, Dan Steele, for 6 years and 4 months. And whereas K9 King has responded to 2,197 calls for service as a Greenwood Police K9, and whereas King has played a vital role in removing dangerous drugs and offenders off the streets of Greenwood, and whereas K9 King has participated in 10 vehicle pursuits that he wasn't driving, right?
No, he was not driving.
Whereas K9 King made physical apprehensions of 5 suspects attempting to evade capture, and whereas K9 King will retire happily with his new Southeast Tennessee mountainside home with his family, Dan and Kimberly Steele. Now therefore I, Mark W. Myers, Mayor of Greenwood, Indiana, do hereby proclaim February 29th, 2020 in honor of K9 King. Congratulations.
Can you lift this way? For a picture? For King?
For what?
There you go.
Seats. There you go. Hey, sit.
Right here, guys. If you look this way, John.
He's all working. Come here. Off.
All right. Oh, there we go. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Dan, how old is King?
Thank you.
How old is he? 10.
10.
Where are you moving in Tennessee?
The town of Dayton, which is not too far from Chattanooga, south central Tennessee.
Yeah. Pretty tempted.
Yep.
We're going to miss you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Wish you well.
Staying with the theme, Chief Lout.
Good evening. Tonight I'd like to go for signatory authority in the consideration of the agreement with Johnson County Sheriff's Department, their training facility.
You have seen this, gentlemen. Any questions for the Chief?
We have, Shauna reviewed this, and there's one change that shouldn't be controversial. If there's an attorney fee provisions, and customarily those say reasonable attorney fees, and this one didn't. So we'd like you to approve it, subject to making that change, and also to approve Mayor Myers to sign the agreement.
So moved. Second.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
And also with the retirement of Officer Dan Skill after 33 years, I would like to give him his Glock Model 17, serial number ZZ K King D David 881.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Further discussion? Officer Skill is here to see this. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. There's Lisa. I didn't see you. I'm sorry. Next, Lisa Vest from Human Resources.
It's a lot farther walk. Good evening, gentlemen. this evening to ask for consideration of the indemnification and hold harmless agreement and addendum with GIS Benefit Systems in the city of Greenwood.
This is for our health insurance.
It is correct. We are utilizing an online enrollment system with GIS called Benefits Connect, and they are actually processing our 1095s for our employees, as well as doing the electronic filing with the IRS.
This is for the mayor to sign. Pleasure of the board. Our questions for Lisa first.
Legals reviewed.
Yeah, legal's reviewed. This is also an agreement we would like for you to authorize the mayor to sign on behalf of the city.
So moved. Second.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Mr. Shell.
Sir.
Good to see you. It's been a while.
Yes. I'm bringing before the board this evening, two different change orders to the Department of Public Works Maintenance Facility contract. The first change order, we actually have contingency amounts in here, but these two change orders come from outside of where the funding is for this facility. The first one is replacement storm sewer pipe with a 12-inch reinforced concrete pipe from the detention area. Here's an aerial photograph that shows the detention area. The far corner is to the southwest, and you see it in the upper right, you see the shelter up on the hill in Craig Park. So from that corner, we actually put in a drain pipe that'll take all of the storm water from the DPW site out to Smith Valley Road and take it into the rest of the stormwater system. There was a PVC pipe in this area that was 6 or 8 inches, and it was the stormwater group felt like that was inadequate, and they'd like to have clean outs and make a professional job of this at the discharge end of this. So they said they would come up with the funding. Mr. Jones has gone to the board, stormwater board, and they've approved paying for the funding. But since this is a contract that comes to the Board of Public Works and Safety, I wanted to bring it to your attention for approval of the change order.
And that's change order number 1.
That's change order number 1.
Okay.
I actually have an original change order right here with me tonight if you care to see the document stuff.
Any action on?
I'd move for approval.
I'll second that. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. Change order number 2 is the next photograph. This is basically taken from the same position aerially, just turned to the right a little bit more. And on the right-hand side, you can see Greenwood Little League softball or baseball fields and the tennis courts that are in the background, a little bit left of center. This slope that you see is the amphitheater slope, where residents will come sit and watch performances at the amphitheater. The parking lot that's on the right-hand side will have a trail that runs between the slope, the amphitheater slope, and the parking lot. And originally this was planned just to be part of the trail system. However, the Parks Department would like to, when it is put in, and it has not been put in yet obviously, would like to make it much thicker to where it would support trucks, vehicular traffic, so that they could support Freedom Festival and Wham Fest and different events by being able to drive vehicles up and down just this one section around the amphitheater. The increased cost on that is $5,840, and so change order number 2 has gone to the Parks Department for their approval of paying the funds. They've approved it, and so it's being brought for your approval since it, again, this is part of the DPW contract.
Questions from Mr. Shell on this one? Seeing none?
I'll move
Is
for
that a
approval.
motion? Okay.
Second.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
John.
How would you like for these to be signed? Would you like for someone from Board of Works? Would you like to authorize the mayor, myself, deputy mayor, something, whomever?
Legal care?
We don't care who signs it.
Is it easier probably to get the mayor's signature on it?
I can absolutely do that.
Okay, let's do that. Is that okay, gentlemen?
Yes.
We'll do that
Thank you
by
very much,
consensus.
Paul.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks. And Chris, thank you for your share of change order number 1. Next, we'll turn to Chris.
This parcel is, it was originally part of the second mitigation application. We ran into some issues with FEMA and purchasing vacant land, so it came to we got the opportunity to just buy it with stormwater funds, and so I'm here tonight to request permission to purchase parcel number 41-022-33-005.001-026. Because it does not have an address, it's just at the end of Academy Street.
Chris, is the outline in green there, is that the actual property boundaries?
That is the actual property boundaries.
It's a good size.
And so there's right of way from Academy directly into this site. So
What's the size of the parcel?
it is approximately 1.3 acres.
And there's no improvements on there at all, are there?
There are no improvements at all.
Okay.
And the majority of it is in the floodplain, flood fringe. We'd be purchasing it from a Jack Kay and Cynthia Napier. And would you like to know the amount?
38.5?
38,500.
Further questions for Mr. Jones?
And this is one that involves the acquisition of real estate, so we request that you approve the mayor's sign on behalf of the city.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, Chris. Next, we'll turn to Crossroad Engineers, Derek Snyder. Schwartz Crossing Commercial Subdivision. Good evening.
I'm here on behalf of Schwartz Crossing Development LLC to request release of the letter of credit number 409987775 in the amount of $266,297.90 for the Phase 1 erosion control at the Schwartz Crossing Commercial Subdivision. In conjunction with the release of that Phase 1 erosion control LOC, we would also request acceptance of the maintenance bond contingent upon the original being the original being submitted to engineering staff. It's my understanding that the developer is in the process of obtaining an original with the corrected date. This had actually come before the board last year, I believe, and was tabled until a good stand of grass could be confirmed.
We've got a memo, gentlemen, from Paul Peony on this. Releasing performance guarantee 266,297.90 and accepting the maintenance guarantee of 3993.24, subject to receipt of the maintenance guarantee for the public erosion control. And then review and approval of the same by legal department engineering division. Pleasure of the board.
I would move that we approve, accept the improvements, and accept the maintenance guarantees and release of performance.
Subject to that condition, I
Correct.
Okay. Second. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Derek. Brian Kramer has turned into somebody not quite as good looking as
Sorry.
Couldn't resist.
For the record, Joe Meyer with Cove Engineering and Surveying Inc. here in Greenwood. Here for two subclass for Greenwood Trace Section 1, subclass approvals. I think there's no comments. I think we're ready to go.
Yeah, we've got a memo from Paul Peony with recommending an unconditional acceptance. And
I'll move for approval.
I'll second that. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
That was for B, right?
That's for, we have two of them. One
And we have C.
block C.
Okay. And then C is.
Same thing.
C is lots 9,
10, 11, and 12.
7, 8, and 9. Wait, is this C?
9, 10, 11, and 12.
10, 11, and 12 is, yeah. I would move that we approve, Block C, acceptance and execution of subplat.
Second, further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff. Have a good evening. Next on our agenda is Mark Wiley of Harvest Bible Church. Good evening.
Hello, Mark Wiley. I'm one of the pastors at Harvest Bible Chapel. I was here last year to talk about our project. I've got an update on the project, and we want to request a release of 2 of our 3 performance guarantees and a reissue of those at a new level. So I'll kind of walk you through that tonight. Just to update you, we acquired 16 acres of land just north of Clark Pleasant Middle School, and we are going to build our future church home there. That plot of land is also directly east and adjacent to the new elementary school that's being built there by Clark Pleasant. We're planning to construct a 36,000 square foot church facility that will begin this summer. Part of the deal with the school is we're building a parking lot that will actually sit on the school property and be used by the new elementary school during the week. It will be used by the churches on the weekend, the church on the weekend. And we phased this project because we needed to do the site work in a timing that met with the school's construction schedule for that elementary school. So we did a lot of site work this year, and then we delayed the beginning of our construction of our building until later this year. This is a drawing that you saw when I was here last time, so I wanted to show you the same drawing. And that just shows the entire site. On the left side is the new elementary school location. And the hashed lines is just showing the phasing of our project, where we're doing phase 1, which is all that site work. Phase 2 is actual construction of the building that has not started yet. So that was just kind of the diagram that we used to kind of show the phasing of what we were doing. Just to give you an update though, and we can come back to that if you need to. Phase 1 we finished in 2019. Again, we had to do that in order to meet the school's schedule. And we had a total of $540,000 in performance guarantees for that, 3 different letters of credit. So in 2019, we did all of our site grading, all the storm structures are in place, erosion control was completed, and we constructed and paved a parking lot and the access roads. Phase 2 will be the construction of the actual building, and then the additional access drives that are going to be on the church site, the parking lot that will be on the church site, the final paving of that parking lot on the school site, and the final paving of the main road end. We're planning to start construction late June or early July, and about a 12-month total construction time to be complete in summer of 2021. So the actual request is, these are the 3 performance guarantees we had. $482,000 for storm walk sewer and the dirt work, $56,000 for erosion control, and just under $2,000 for the surveying monuments. We're proposing that we'll follow the normal process for release. We've got the as-built that we've already delivered. We'll do obviously the on-site inspection and the pipe video in order to support the release, and then we'd like to reissue new performance guarantees for the work we have left to do, which is actually very little. Specifically in terms of the storm work, we need to tie in the roof drains into the storm structure. We'll have some more erosion control associated with just the construction of the building. The surveying monuments, we still need to have, we won't change that, we'll keep that performance guarantee in place. So a significant reduction for us, which, and the reason we're asking for that is, our project won't actually be fully complete until the summer of 2021. We're getting ready to go for funding for the construction of our building. It's going to help us a great deal to have the release of those performance guarantees. So that's what's led us to this request.
Comments?
Right, and we had a conversation with Mr. Wiley last week, and recommended that he come and present kind of a project status like he has, but then also the reasons for their request. So essentially, their project is still ongoing. This is essentially a partial request, or a request for a partial release of the performance guarantees, and that's kind of a unique procedure for the Board of Works, normally one that's not always followed, so we thought it was best for them to come in and explain the situation, how it would benefit them to have that partial release. So the decision,
So the big one is the dirt work and storm sewers, reducing that from 482 down to $11,000. That's a big chunk.
and one qualifier, I guess that, we haven't fully vetted or reviewed the actual, amounts of the new performance guarantees. Those were sent in kind of in kind of a preliminary or a draft. So we would need to check those. So just one caveat on those numbers.
Have you inspected the work to make sure it's done?
Our inspectors have been visiting the site, inspecting it, and working with the contractor on the as-builts and the pipe video. Those are some of the last remaining steps.
Yeah, we haven't actually done the pipe video yet. We wanted to wait and see if this was going to be supported before we paid to do that, but yeah.
And this kind of goes into maybe your bailiwick more than certainly more than mine. The tying of the roof drains. How does that have an impact on the dirt work and that's already there?
It's part of the storm system more than the dirt work system.
Okay. So is $11,000 sufficient to secure that compliance with that?
Like I said, we would need to double check exactly all of the scope of work that's involved in the next phase 2.
How did you come up with the numbers for the new ones, Pastor?
So, T&W is our general contractor, and Tim Howard's our project manager. He's with me. He's the one who created the takeoff sheets. Obviously, those are subject to review yet, but that was their calculation. So, our intent tonight was to kind of get approval in concept that this is a possibility and let them kind of work through and vet those numbers and make sure that those are accurate. The big thing is about 95% of the work is done, and that's so it's clearly a lot less. So yeah.
Legal have any thoughts about this?
We do not.
Okay.
Seems like a rational request.
Is that a motion?
I would move that we release the performance and accept the new performance. The only thing I have a problem with is the dollar figure.
Right.
So it'll be subject to
review of.
Or my recommendation would be that if you wanted to wait until they come in for a second meeting, so you have all the different amounts known and in front of you, then you could. This was really just as Mr. Wiley said, just to
conceptual.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Rather than having it open-ended.
Correct.
So we're open to the idea.
Okay.
Just nail down the numbers a little bit more.
And I'll second that motion, and you can bring that back to us.
Bring the specifics back in, the actual numbers.
All
Okay.
in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Anyone from the audience who wishes to address us? Seeing none, we'll move on to you, Mr. Hodson.
Starting IDEM, IDEM is going well with the exception of a small matter. We had a very minor overage due to a plug that came, that we didn't install, a contractor installed that came loose and clogged something farther downstream. We have replied, but I need to solicit a motion to be able to pay IDEM $250 fine. I don't know that it makes sense to pay many multiples of that in attorney fees to argue about it rather than pay $250.
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Part of our agreed order with IDEM requires us to file an annual report, which was submitted on January 22nd, soliciting a motion to ratify the annual report that's already been filed. I believe you've been provided with a copy of it.
We have.
So moved. Second.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Next up is consideration of Ray's annual trash license application for 2020. This one we just need signatures from the board tonight.
Move for approval.
Second? Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
The next thing items I think you can consider together because they're just the same thing. They are minor contracts for services with the sanitation department. While they're minor over the course of the year, they may exceed the $10,000 aggregate. These vendors, because we are required to have contracts to meet the requirements of State Board of Accounts, that we reduce these agreements to writing, and before they were just normal processes with the vendors. So for Biochem, Asbury Water Technology, and Jackson Oil and Solvents, we'd be soliciting a motion to authorize the mayor to sign contracts which were created by the legal department to memorialize these relationships.
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
My final matter is an amendment to the professional services agreement with Calpe Strategic Solutions LLC. These are the folks helping us with the zoning and subdivision control ordinance, and we request that you authorize the mayor to sign this one.
We're adding 45,000 and change to that.
Correct.
contract.
Why? What do they need to, what are they doing?
I think that it was because of changes that we made.
Pleasure of the board. Further discussion?
I'll move for approval. Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
That's all from legal.
Thank you, Sam.
Wait, a mediator for Western Region.
I'm sorry. We do have one more. We have a mediation in an eminent domain case that's taking place on Wednesday in the Schoengert matter. And we would like for the board to designate one member to be available by telephone. Mediation starts at 9:30 and we expect to be completed by 1.
Who's mediating? Do you remember?
Van Winkle, I believe.
John?
Yeah.
Do we know when? I'm available, pretty flexible.
Wednesday morning.
This coming Wednesday
Yeah,
morning?
the 5th.
Yeah, I could probably do that.
I move we designate Shane Rutherford as our designee.
Second.
Further discussion?
So when, I mean, where?
The 5th, just by telephone.
Oh, yeah, you don't have to attend,
Yeah,
Shan,
just want you-
unless you really want to sit through one of
No,
these.
no, no.
Okay.
And
Let's keep something
if you
across
do,
here, good restaurants.
we're going to,
I'm just trying to think of something. Okay.
I used to work.
I'm
for
good.
John Van
I'm
Winkle.
good.
Yeah, summer. Further discussion, seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
Daniel?
I have 2 items this evening. The first is Sandstone Apartments, Phase 2. We're just requesting that you accept the performance guarantees for dirt work, storm sewer, erosion control, sanitary sewer, streets, sidewalks, signs and monuments, all for Sandstone Apartments Phase 2. These are the letters of credit.
This is all unconditional approval.
Correct.
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
My second item is for Worsville Road Section 2 project. It's actually consideration of the right-of-way parcels, the land acquisition. Right now in the project, there were originally 20, I don't see the memo here, so I'll walk you through it. There were original 20 parcels in the project. 4 were eliminated, and of the remaining 16, 9 have already received approval for funding of the acquisitions from the Redevelopment Commission. At the February meeting, 4 more parcels will be presented for approval of funding, and then the last 3 are still waiting the appraisal amounts to be finalized and given to the city or submitted to the city. So on the screen, I have just a quick snapshot of each of the parcels that we have already received the offers for. That's the 9 that have been approved funding and the 4 that will be requesting funding next week. And really, it's just to seek for the board to accept the acquisition of permanent and temporary right-of-way, pending approval by the Redevelopment Commission for those parcels that it has not yet approved funding, all for the Worsville Road Section 2 project. This is really for.
Where is that exactly?
So all of these most of these parcels are along the stretch of Stones Crossing Road east of Honey Creek. That's where the majority of the land acquisition is on Worsville Road Section 2. And so if you could just kind of slowly switch through each, there's a number of them on the north side and also on the south side. So in total, or I should say, the cumulative amount of these 13 parcels, we still have 3 still pending their final appraisals, but of these 13, the cumulative amount is $388,385 that has been, or that will be the amount. 103,000 of that has been previously approved by the RDC. And as we did with the other project, we brought this to the board for consideration and acceptance into the city's right-of-way, pending funding by the RDC.
So is the total you're asking for approval from us is $68,000?
No, it's not a funding amount. It's more of the accepting of these areas that we're acquiring into the city's right-of-way.
What the aggregate amount of those was it 68,000? Was that the first one we looked at? For all for Section 2?
Well, all of these, I might be misunderstanding your question, but all of these, the cumulative amount is $388,385.
Oh, the first one we saw was just the individual parcel.
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah.
Okay.
Each of these slides is one parcel.
Standalone.
Yes, standalone, yes.
Pleasure of the board.
Move for approval and acceptance. Second.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you, that's all I have.
Thank you, Dan. Greg, anything from your office? Mr. Rutherford.
Move for approval of the claim. Second.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Motion passes. We will stand adjourned at 6:03 a.m.
Through, are we gonna be constructing that in 2020?
So I just need to be on standby with my phone.
I was asked that question by the
Soon as
headmaster.
Sharon's gonna.
Cell
Cell phone number.
Whether or not they need to move their athletic team for fall.